Her bare feet tore across wet roots as thorns bit into her ankles. Behind her, torchlight flickered between the trees, and a woman's voice screamed into the darkness. "Find her! Do not let that girl reach Makora." Naya did not stop. She could not stop. Her lungs burned, her chest heaved, and in her trembling hand she clutched a small wooden bird, the only thing left of her father. Branches slashed her arms. Her feet slid on mud. Somewhere behind her, dogs barked, closing in. She pressed her back against a giant baobab tree, gasping, tears streaking her dusty face, and whispered the only prayer she had left. "Papa, if you can hear me, please don't let them catch me." How did a girl once adored by an entire village end up running for her life through a forest at midnight? To understand that, we must go back to when Naya Adiko was simply a daughter, and Ndalu was simply home. Before we continue, if stories like this move you, tap that subscribe button right now so you never miss what happens next, and drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one. The kingdom of Ndilu woke up singing. Women pounded yam to the rhythm of morning drums. Children chased goats through red dust paths. And beneath the great baobab tree at the village center, elders gathered to tell stories passed down for 100 years. Naya was 17 then, always the first to rise. She fetched water for old widows before the sun climbed high. She fed injured birds back to health. In the evenings, she sat beside her father, Koro Adeko, the village's most respected woodcarver, watching his hands turn plain wood into sacred art. "Papa, why do you carve so slowly?" she asked one evening, sanding a block of ebony beside him. Koro smiled without looking up. "Because a hurried hand makes a hollow carving, my daughter, just like a hurried life makes a hollow person." He set down his chisel and lifted a small, unfinished wooden bird, its wings half-formed. "One day I will finish this. And when I do, I want you to remember something." "What, Papa?" "That even a bird trapped in wood still remembers how to fly, no matter what life traps you in, Naya. Never forget who you are." She laughed then, not understanding the weight those words would carry. She was happy. She was safe. She had no idea a storm was walking toward their home, wearing a beautiful smile. Her name was Mabel. She arrived in Dalu with soft eyes and gentle laughter, and within months, Koro married her, believing his daughter needed a mother's warmth again. At first, Mabel cooked sweet stews for Naya. She braided her hair by firelight. She sang to her at night. "You are so loved here," Mabel told her once, stroking her cheek. "I only want what's best for you." Naya believed her completely, but warmth is easy to fake, and jealousy is patient. It began quietly, a comment here, a glance there. Every time villagers praised Naya's kindness, something dark flickered behind Mabel's eyes. "Everyone speaks of Naya's goodness," an old woman said one afternoon at the market, as if the girl were born of moonlight. Mabel's smile did not move, but inside something cracked. That night, alone by the fire, she whispered to herself, "Why does she shine brighter than my own name? I am the wife. I am the one who stayed." The jealousy she buried during the day began to grow roots at night, roots that would soon strangle everything good in that house. Then illness came for Koro like a thief in the dark. It started as a cough, then fever, then his strong hands, hands that had carved 1,000 blessings into wood, began to shake uncontrollably. Healers tried roots, prayers, ancestral rites. Nothing worked. Naya sat beside his mat every night, holding his weakening hand. "Papa, please don't leave me," she begged, tears falling onto his fingers. "I'm not ready. I don't know how to be alone in this world." Koro's eyes, though tired, still held love. "Naya, listen to me. Bitterness is a slow poison. Promise me, whatever happens after I'm gone, you will not let it live inside you." "I promise, Papa." He pressed the half-finished wooden bird into her palm, now complete, its wings fully carved, as if he had been racing death to finish it. "When people bury truth," he whispered, "truth grows roots, and one day it rises again." Those were his final words. He closed his eyes and did not open them again. Naya's scream that night echoed through the village, but it could not bring him back. Grief has a strange cruelty. It makes people vulnerable exactly when the wolves are circling. Within weeks, the woman who once braided Naya's hair became someone Naya no longer recognized. "You will not sit idle in this house eating my food," Mabel snapped one morning, throwing Naya's fine clothes into the fire. "From today, you sleep in the storage hut. You fetch water before sunrise. You farm until your hands bleed. Do you understand me?" "Mabel, please, this was Papa's house too. Why are you doing this?" Mabel's face twisted. "Your father is gone. And in this house, I decide what happens now." Every day became labor. Every night became silence and cold floors. Naya cooked meals she was never allowed to eat properly, ate leftovers like a stranger in her own home, and worked in fields until her palms cracked and bled. Worse, Mabel quietly sold Koro's sacred carvings to traders passing through Ndalu, pocketing the coins while telling villagers, "That lazy girl refuses to work. She lets her father's legacy rot." Nobody questioned it. Grief had made Naya invisible, and lies had made Mabel believable. But cruelty is never satisfied. It always demands more. Mabel had secretly borrowed money from a wealthy cattle lord named Chief Bakari, debts that had grown too large to escape. Bakari was old, arrogant, and used to acquiring anything he desired, including people. One evening, Naya overheard voices through the thin clay wall of the hut. "Erase every coin I owe you," Mabel whispered, "and I will give you what you truly want." The girl, Bakari's voice was thick with satisfaction. "You would give me Naya? She is young. She is strong. She will make you a fine, obedient wife." Naya's blood turned cold. Her hands shook as she pressed herself against the wall, heart hammering. "She has no say in this," Mabel continued. "I am her guardian now." Naya backed away slowly into the darkness, tears blurring her vision. Not tears of sadness this time, tears of fury and terror colliding. "I will not be sold," she whispered to herself. "I will not become another man's possession." That night, she made a decision that would change everything. She fled to the home of Elder Nafisa, an old herbalist who lived near the edge of the sacred forest, known for quietly sheltering children the village had forgotten. "Please," Naya begged, breathless. "Mabel plans to sell me to Chief Bakari. I have nowhere else to go." Nafisa studied her for a long moment, then nodded firmly. "I have watched that house for years, child. I always knew this day would come." She packed dried food, healing herbs, and gently placed something into Naya's palm. The wooden bird Naya believed she had left behind in her rush to escape. "I kept it safe," Nafisa said, "the day your father died. I knew you would need it more than ever." Naya clutched it to her chest, sobbing. "Thank you, thank you." Nafisa held her shoulders firmly. "Listen to me. Roads test feet before they reward them. The forest ahead is dangerous, but staying here is more dangerous still. Go now, before the moon reaches its peak." And that is exactly where our story began. Naya running through the sacred forest, torches chasing her shadow, her father's voice, her only comfort in the dark. She ran until the barking faded. She ran until her legs gave out beneath her. And when morning came, she was no longer in Ndalu. She was free. But freedom, she would soon learn, comes with its own brutal price. If this story has your heart racing already, smash that like button right now. It truly helps the story reach more people who need to hear it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time, because what happens next changes everything. Makora was nothing like Naya imagined. Though the trading city roared with noise, merchants shouting prices, carts rattling over stone, strangers everywhere, none of them kind. Within her first day, a boy no older than 12 snatched her last coins and vanished into the crowd. "Wait, please, that was all I had," she screamed, but no one turned to help. She slept curled behind market stalls, hunger gnawing her stomach, rain soaking her thin clothes. She was offered easy money twice, both times refusing without hesitation. "I don't care how hungry I am," she told a shady merchant who offered her stolen goods to sell. I will not steal. I will not cheat. My father raised me better than that. Days blurred into desperation, but even starving, even freezing, even utterly alone, Naya's integrity did not break. Then one afternoon, she found a leather purse heavy with gold coins lying near a fruit stall, dropped by a wealthy-looking woman rushing through the crowd. Naya's stomach growled painfully. She could disappear with that money. No one would ever know. Instead, she grabbed the purse and ran after the woman, shouting, "Wait, Ma, you dropped this." The woman turned, startled, staring at the ragged, starving girl holding out a fortune she could have easily kept. "Why would you return this? You look like you
Thank you for
haven't
your
eaten in
honesty,
days."
child.
Naya's voice cracked. "Because
Thank you
it isn't
so much,
mine.
Mama.
My father always said, character is worth more than survival." The woman studied her for a long, silent moment, and in that moment, everything began to change. Her name was Mama Azuki, owner of the largest weaving cooperative in Makora. "Come with me," she said simply. "I don't reward honesty with silence." Naya hesitated. "I have nothing to offer you, Ma. I don't even know how to weave." Mama Azuki's eyes softened. "Then I will teach you. What is your name, child?" "Naya." "Naya Adeko." "Well, Naya Adeko, today your life begins again." She was given a small room, warm food, and for the first time in over a year, safety. Mama Isoke taught her weaving patterns passed down through generations. A young trader named Kwesi, cheerful and endlessly patient, taught her bookkeeping and how to read merchant contracts by lamplight. "You catch numbers faster than most traders twice your age," Kwesi told her one evening, laughing as she corrected an error in his own ledger. "My father used to say, 'Numbers don't lie, even when people do,'" Naya replied, smiling for what felt like the first time in forever. "Your father sounds like he was a wise man." "He was everything," she said quietly. "I just wish he could see me now." Kwesi looked at her gently. "Maybe he can. Maybe that's exactly why you survived." Their friendship grew slowly, built on respect rather than desperation, something Naya had never experienced with any adult since her father's death. 2 years passed. Naya worked relentlessly, studying every contract, every trade negotiation, every leadership decision Mama Aizoke made. Then Mama Aizoki fell seriously ill. "Naya," she said weakly from her sickbed, "I'm placing the cooperative in your hands until I recover." "Ma, the workers won't accept this. I'm still so young, and You returned a fortune to a stranger when you were starving," Mama Izuke interrupted firmly. "That is exactly the kind of person who should lead." Many workers doubted her. Whispers followed her through the cooperative halls. "She's just a village girl playing businesswoman," one worker scoffed. But Naya did not argue. She simply worked harder, negotiated fairer wages, expanded trade routes to neighboring villages, and within months, profits doubled. The doubt turned into respect. The whispers turned into praise. "I underestimated you," the same worker admitted months later. "I'm sorry." Naya only smiled. "Prove it by working with me, not against me." She had transformed from a runaway girl into a woman capable of leading an empire, but something still pulled at her heart, unfinished and aching. One evening, while organizing old cooperative records, Naya discovered documents that made her blood run cold. Legal papers proving her father had legitimately owned vast fertile land in Ndalu. Land that Mabel had illegally transferred and sold after his death. Kwesi found her staring at the papers, hands trembling. "Naya, what's wrong?" "She stole from him even after he was dead," Naya whispered. "She sold his legacy behind his grave." "What will you do?" Naya's eyes hardened with a fire Kwesi had never seen before. "I'm going home. Not for revenge, Kwesi. For truth. I'll come with you." "You don't have to." "I know I don't have to," he said softly. "I want to." For the first time since fleeing Indalu, Naya returned, not as a frightened girl escaping
Is
into
that
darkness,
Naya?
but as a woman
Look,
walking
she has
confidently into the
returned.
light. We're halfway through this incredible journey. If you're feeling everything Naya felt in this moment, hit that like button and leave a comment telling me what you think happens when she faces Mabel again. Your comments genuinely help the story reach more people. The village elders gathered beneath the same ancient baobab tree where Koro once told his stories, where Naya once played as a child. Word spread fast. The girl who vanished into the forest has returned, villagers whispered, and she is no longer alone. Mabel arrived, confidence faltering the moment she saw Naya standing tall, dressed with dignity, papers in hand. "You dare come back here," Mabel hissed, after running away like a coward. "I did not run away, Mabel," Naya said calmly. "I ran from cruelty. There is a difference." Chief Bakari, older now and still arrogant, stepped forward. "This foolish girl brings nothing but drama into peaceful matters." Naya turned to the elders, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I have proof that my father's land was stolen. Witnesses who watched it happen. I ask only for the truth to be heard." One by one, former workers who once feared Mabel stepped forward. "She threatened to have me removed from the village if I spoke," one elderly farmer admitted, shame heavy in his voice. "I am sorry, child. I should have protected you." Another woman added, "I watched her sell your father's carvings myself. I said nothing out of fear." Mabel's composure cracked. "Lies. All of this is lies." "Then explain this," Naya said, holding up the original land documents, her father's official seal unmistakable. "Explain why this bears my father's mark, not yours." Silence swallowed the crowd. Mabel's voice rose in panic. "I did what I had to do to survive. You don't understand what it's like to be a widow's replacement, always compared to a dead man's memory." "You didn't survive," Naya said, voice trembling with restrained emotion. "You destroyed. You sold my father's legacy. You tried to sell me like property to a man twice my age." Chief Bakari stepped back nervously as villagers turned toward him, murmurs of disgust rippling through the crowd. I had no part in illegal transfers," he stammered. "This was entirely her doing." "Coward," Mabel spat. The elders exchanged grave looks. One rose slowly, staff in hand. "The evidence is undeniable," he declared. "Koro Adeko's land and legacy belong rightfully to his daughter, Naya Adeko, effective immediately." Cheers and gasps erupted through the crowd. Mabel collapsed to her knees, sobbing. Her schemes finally unraveled beneath the very tree where her lies had first taken root. "Please," she begged, looking up at Naya, "please don't destroy me the way I destroyed you." Every eye turned to Naya, waiting. This was her moment. The moment for revenge she had earned 1,000 times over. Naya knelt slowly until she was eye level with the woman who had caused her so much suffering. "Do you remember," Naya said quietly, "the day my father died? He made me promise something." Mabel said nothing, tears streaming silently. "He told me bitterness is a slow poison. He told me not to let it live inside me. I promised him that, Mabel, and I intend to keep every promise I made to my father. So, what will happen to me?" Naya stood, addressing the elders. "Let her face lawful consequences for the fraud she committed, but do not let her starve. Do not let her sleep in the cold as I once did." Cruelty answered with cruelty, only plants another bitter seed. Gasps of disbelief spread through the crowd. "Justice restores what greed destroys," Naya continued. "Revenge only destroys further." Kwesi watched her with quiet admiration, whispering to himself, "Your father would be so proud of you right now." Mabel, utterly broken, whispered through her tears, "I don't deserve this mercy." "No," Naya replied honestly, "you don't, but I refuse to become someone I would no longer recognize." The elders nodded solemnly, honoring her wishes. Justice was served, but so, remarkably, was grace. Years passed like gentle seasons. The restored land flourished under Naya's care, crops thriving where neglect once ruled. She rebuilt her father's woodworking shrine, preserving his legacy exactly as he would have wanted. But her greatest achievement stood beside it, a new building she proudly named the Baobab House, a sanctuary where girls escaping abuse and hardship learned literacy, farming, weaving, and leadership, exactly as Mama Izoki had once taught her. "Why did you build this?" A young girl asked her one afternoon, eyes wide with curiosity. Naya smiled, kneeling to meet her gaze. Because someone once gave me a chance when I had nothing, I'm simply passing it forward. Beneath the very baobab tree where her father once told stories, where elders once restored her inheritance, Kwesi took her hand one golden evening. Naya Adeko, he said softly, kneeling before her. You have taught me what true strength looks like. Will you build the rest of this life beside me? Tears of joy, not sorrow, filled her eyes. This time, yes, Kwesi, 1,000 times, yes. The village celebrated with drumming and laughter late into the night, not celebrating wealth or power, but resilience, forgiveness, and community restored. Years later, children gathered beneath that same ancient baobab tree, its roots deeper, its branches wider, exactly as Naya's had grown. She sat among them, her father's finished wooden bird resting gently on a branch above, swaying softly in the evening breeze. Grandmother Naya, a small child, asked, "Why do you always tell us this story?" Naya smiled, holding the child's hand gently. "Because storms will always come, little one. But like this tree, if your roots remember who you truly are, no storm can ever break you." The children listened closely, the fire crackling, the stars emerging one by one above Ndalu, a kingdom that once broke her, and later became the very legacy she chose to heal. The baobab never forgets, and neither should we forget stories that remind us who we really are. If Naya's journey moved you even half as much as it moved me while telling it, please subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Drop a comment sharing your favorite moment, and give this video a like so more people can discover it too. Thank you for staying until the very end. I'll see you in the next story.